I want to talk about Ayurveda and yoga because Ayurveda is pretty new to the Western scene. It's pretty common to read about Ayurveda in all like the health magazines and things these days. And it is, texts date back as far as 7,000 years. It's one of the oldest healing holistic sciences in history. But a lot of people have never heard of it, and a lot of people make the assumption that it's the same thing as yoga. So let me describe this to you as well as I can. So yoga is the sister science to Ayurveda. And so they do have a lot of correlation. And I want to first make clear what yoga is, because here in the West, we think of yoga as rolling out your mat and moving through a series of postures. And that's that. But there's a lot more to yoga. And I actually talk to a lot of women, potential clients, who are interested in taking a yoga teacher training, because then you get to learn the philosophy of yoga. You see, there are 8 limbs. This is Patanjali's eightfold path in yoga. And the postures, or the asanas, is just one of them. There's so many more aspects to living a yogic lifestyle. So the first limb is all about like how you behave within society. And it's a lot about, are you expressing violence toward other people, either, in your mind or in your speech, or physical violence. It's about non-harming. It's about always telling the truth and being honest and doing things for the highest good of all involved. It's about not stealing. It's about attending to the wisest use of your energy. Brahmacharya is about not wasting your energy on emotional vampires, on the wrong kind of people. And it's also about non-hoarding, not being greedy, being able to just let go of whatever situation is holding you back. The second limb is the niyamas. These are your duties toward the self, the way that you take care of yourself. It's about cleanliness and the things that you attend to ensure that your body is well taken care of. It's about having a sense of contentment in your mind and in your emotions. It's about having a level of tapas, this level of heat, which is like motivation to go after your goals. It's about self-study and being interested in like, who am I? What is my potential? How do I get past obstacles in my life? We want to continue learning about ourselves throughout our whole lives. And then it's about being able to surrender. Again, being able to let go of what's not serving you so that you can move on and move forward and continue to grow. The third limb on the eightfold path of yoga is the asanas. This is the postures, and even when you read yogic scripture, it really refers to asana as the posture of like being seated, which in Ayurveda talks about the word svasta, which is to be like seated in the self, to have good posture, to be like well situated within the self. So in Western yoga, this is really, and in the East as well, they do have a series of postures in asana that you can use to ensure that your body's well taken care of. But Western yoga is kind of like run with that this is all there is to yoga, and it's so much more. The fourth limb is pratyahara, which is your breath, the quality of your breath. How in tune are you with your breath? Do you find yourself breathing really shallowly sometimes and have to remind yourself to take deep breaths? Do you find yourself pausing enough times through the day to check back in with your body? The fifth is pratyahara, which is withdrawal of your senses. And this is really important, you guys, for living a healthy and well-balanced life. We are hella overstimulated. Like, if you could just cover your ears, remove yourself from the barrage of sounds coming at you all day. Cover your eyes. Remove yourself from constantly looking, taking in new information. We're constantly tasting and smelling and looking and hearing. And this is something that we have failed to pay attention to. We don't just digest our food. We digest all of our sensory experiences. And so we need to take breaks from eating. We need to take breaks from hearing and listening and looking and tasting and smelling as well. Giving yourself sensory withdrawal is so restorative. The sixth limb is dharana, which is the ability to have presence, the ability to intensely concentrate on the present moment. And oh my gosh, as a mom, this is the biggest gift of all. Because if you spend too much time sitting in a room, even if you're with your kids, and your mind is elsewhere, your mind is making lists, your mind is thinking about what's going to happen next, you're going to grow, your kids are going to grow, and you'll be left with no memories of what happened because you weren't there. So, especially for parents, this is an extremely important skill to have in order to, really enjoy your life and set up that foundation of like, I had a really present mom for your kids. The seventh limb refers to this dhyana, which is meditation. It's our ability to just shut off the thoughts, shut off the world, and give our nervous system a chance to reset itself. And I'm sure you have read multiple studies on the benefits of meditation. It is one of the very most healing things that you could do. And then there's limb number 8, which is the final step on the Eightfold Path. And it's samadhi, it's bliss. And what I love about this description of bliss is not about being like, yay, joyful, everything's perfect all the time. That's not life. It's never going to be life. It wasn't life 5,000 years ago, and it's not life now. The way that bliss is described in Buddhism and yoga and Ayurveda is the ability to be okay with what is, to just go with the flow. The ability to look at a situation and without 100 layers of our past experiences and without jumping to conclusions because of the patterns that we've created over time, we see things for what they are and we take action as necessary or take no action at all because there isn't any required. Like, how amazing does that feel? So here's the thing about Ayurveda. Ayurveda doesn't really teach you about the postures of yoga. Even, in Ayurveda, you learn that depending on your dosha or your Ayurvedic constitution, again, if you haven't done a quiz on that, you could hop to my website at thehabit.net/Ayurveda. Depending on your constitution or what's out of balance for you, yoga's not even the best kind of exercise or movement that you could be doing to get the most impact in your body. But what Ayurveda does teach is all of the other 7 limbs. It teaches you how to live your yoga off the mat. The other thing about a yoga practice is if you could commit to a yoga practice every day for a year, you would come away with some really beautiful insights about yourself. You would come away, I'm sure, a very transformed human. If you could go somewhere and practice your yoga for an hour every day and remove yourself from your other responsibilities and come to that place where you are completely calm and be able to have access to your intuition and your full potential, is very, very cool to be really engaged in a yoga practice. But I want to offer you something. If you have an existing schedule that really doesn't allow for an hour a day away from your family, that's okay. Because imagine if you learned the skills of a yogic lifestyle versus just the postures of yoga. If you learned these ancient skills gifted from the wisdom of Ayurveda, these are things that you can do, little tools that you can implement, these beautiful rituals that you can practice that take care of your physical body, they take care of your mind, they take care of your senses. And this is stuff that you can do at home in front of your kids. You don't have to remove yourself. The thing about when we go somewhere, when we go to the gym or when we go to yoga class, our kids don't know what we're doing. They're like maybe watching TV, or they're at home playing with their toys or playing with their friends or hanging out with dad or whatever. But they don't know what we're doing. And it has been an incredible experience for myself and for the members of my program to see mommy engaging in self-care in front of them. I am adopting practices to take care of me, and the kids are following suit. The kids want to engage in these things too. Imagine a year of engaging in little daily practices, and I'm talking things that take 2 minutes, you guys. This is not a big deal. But you do it every day, you create a habit out of it, your kids see you, and after a year, imagine what is possible for them. I had to offer that to you guys today because Ayurveda is not yoga, but it is.